Always coming through with the jam. I was listening to Jadena in the car when I went to the grocery store. It is another RockTruth Cafe Saturday, and I am excited for this quick little, because I guess this is our snack. Yeah, this counts as our snack recipe, but you could definitely make this a nice, full, and encompassing meal. And it doesn't have to be vegan, but I'm trying and I couldn't find the vegan cheese. Like, who knew that it's real hard to find vegan cheese? So you would think that in a store that carries like all these kosher items and I guess caters to the Jewish community out here, that they would have something else, something. They did it. They didn't have any vegan. They had a wide variety of cheeses, and none of it was vegan. So I'm going to use regular cheese today. But there are recipes to make your own vegan cheese. I actually have, but I'm not going to try to do all that today. As you can see, I'm already sweating, and I haven't done a thing. It's humid. It's been overcast. I don't know if you can see that. It looks bright, but it's not. It's very overcast. Ha! And it's even starting to fog. So it's been raining for like the past week and a half straight. I think we had like one sunny day in there barely. So this is a very versatile recipe, and these are some of the fillings that I have. So these are my leftovers from this week that I've been kind of eating on. I had some shishito peppers, some cherry tomatoes, and there's some eggplant in there that I already had. And a purple bell pepper. See, I already cut the other bell pepper I had, but they taste the same as green bell peppers, but they're purple. And because they're purple, they have a different type of antioxidant in it, phytonutrients and stuff. So the colors that the vegetables have are an indication of the nutrients that they have in them. So the flavor is the exact same as a green bell pepper. It's just purple. So you're getting flavor of green bell pepper and nutrients of a purple bell pepper. So it's a win-win. I have my little cast iron skillet. We don't have a big one yet because we don't have a whole lot of room here. But once we move, we're getting a whole cast iron skillet set. I promise you that. But this is my little cast iron skillet. This recipe is set to use the cast iron skillet because it heats evenly. So this is a great little cast iron skillet. You can do it as a lunch, a snack, whatever. If you want to add meat to it, if you're not trying to be vegan, that's fine. Like I said, I have to use regular cheese, so I couldn't find vegan cheese, and I'm not trying to make vegan cheese, not just yet, but we will get to that, though. We will be making our own vegan cheese because I have some nutritional yeast in the cabinet because I plan on doing that, like, for the, what did I do? The lasagna squash. That was good, too. Could check back for that recipe. That was a good one. And so we're going to get to it now. So these are some of my ingredients. I have some fresh, where's my bag? Okay. So I have some fresh peppers and things I just cut up this morning because I had some breakfast. So I'm going to show y'all my breakfast. So this is my breakfast quesadilla. And what I did was, those are spinach tortillas, and I just cut up collard greens. Yes, it's collard greens. Actually, no, it's a bag of chopped collard greens because I'm a little lazy, I ain't gonna lie. And and I bought the chopped collard greens and I just sauteed those in a pan. I have these leftover, the shishito peppers, the purple bell pepper that was already cooked, and I just added that to the skillet. And I cut up a little bit of little breakfast meat and stuff and sauteed that, and then I took that out of the pan and I heated the tortilla, and then I have these. See, y'all getting extra recipes out of me today. And I got these at Aldi. So these are cheese wraps, and all I did was just lay this flat on top of the tortilla and let it melt. And then I did both tortillas, like the top one and the bottom one. And then once I got the last pea in the pan with the little cheese, and I put all my fillings on top of it, and I sprinkled some mozzarella cheese in there, y'all, to make it stick. I put the other top one on there, and I flipped it, and it's delicious. Like, people don't usually think, collard greens for breakfast. Collard greens are an amazing green. They have a ton of nutrients in them, and anything that you put spinach in, you put collard greens in, kale in. So you gotta think outside the box with your nutrition, y'all. So this is my shortcut. We're gonna use the Pillsbury pizza crust, and there are several ways you can do this recipe. So you can either take, I think our ice tray has ice in it right now. So you can either take an ice tray. I'll knock it out so I can kind of show y'all a little bit better. All right, so empty the ice tray. So an empty ice tray. So you can take the ice tray, you stretch the dough over the ice tray, and you can take another ice tray and kind of press it down on top a little bit to stretch the dough into the holes. And then you can take your fillings and stuff them into the holes, and then take your other piece of dough, lay it across it, and then press it down so that the lines of the ice tray cut into sides, and then that's how you can make your piece of bites if you want bites. Or like how I'm going to do more like a kind of like a pull, like a kind of monkey bread type piece of bite situation. So we're going to do that one instead because it takes a little less effort to make it all prettiful. and I don't know. Sometimes you just kind of want something quick that you can grab, throw in a pan, and that's where we're at right now. So let's see. Get this piece of dough off. And so I love Pillsbury. I love the fact that they started making these little separate doughs. And even with this recipe, it doesn't have to be their pizza crust. You can use the croissant dough as well because they're cut into little triangles, and essentially it feels like it's the same kind of dough. But to me, it does anyway. So you can definitely use that the croissant dough, and it'll just bake up with a kind of fluffier, a different kind of consistency a little bit. So you just got to be mindful of how you want your dough to be, and then you can just go crazy with your own fillings. Like that's why I love finding recipes, because I love to figure out ways to specialize, kind of personalize it and make it work for me and my little creative mind with this stuff. And dough, for the most part, is super easy to make. That's why I posted the recipe with the homemade instructions, so you can make your own dough. It's just really time consuming because you have to let the dough sit for like an hour at least and let it rise. And then even once you get all the ingredients in the pan with your homemade dough, you have to let it sit again for about another hour or so to let the dough rise if you want like big, fluffy piece of bites in that pan. And so I'm not gonna, hold y'all for an hour watching dough rise. Like kind of like watching paint dry. We're not doing that on this show, all right? So this is why I opted for the pre-made pizza dough situation, and I'm actually gonna tear these into little pieces, and we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna make it like a kind of piece of monkey bread type situation. Let me pull up this so I can make sure I'm giving y'all the correct instructions while I'm doing this, because I'm not trying to send nobody off. So I have this pesto, and you can absolutely you don't have to use pesto. You can absolutely just use pizza sauce, marinara sauce. Like I said, like this is a very personalized recipe, and you can easily personalize it to your taste, whatever you like. And so I'm just trying something different. So I have this pesto, sun-dried tomato pesto, and there's also instructions on how to make your own sun-dried tomato pesto if you want to get jazzy like that, and you can add in your own other, your own additional ingredients into it, because really it's just a blend. You just blend your sun-dried tomatoes with some oil and some stuff, and boom, that's your pesto. So that's that. And then we're gonna get our, oh, my back is speaking. Cause I'm looking at the at what parts I was able to skip. So now we're basically boom at the stuffing. So I have my fresh ingredients here, and like I said, I already have my old cooked ingredients, and I'm not going to put any meat into this one because like I said, it was intended to be vegan. I wasn't able to find any vegan cheese. So we're gonna try and stick with the plan, even though we had to kind of. So this is what I'm gonna have to use. I'm gonna have to use my milk cheese, my milk mozzarella, because these stores don't have any vegan cheese. So, and let me get my Parmesan. So, like I said, if you just want it to be vegetarian, you can do that. And then, like I said, you use your regular dairy cheeses. So this is just in case I need more mozzarella, because I like cheese. I like it cheesy. And I got some Parmesan cheese to sprinkle across the top. And let me get a mat here so we can get drinks. I move this out the way. All right, so we're going to bring y'all over here where we can roll this. So the way that it's described on how to do this, because the picture makes it look like it's just kind of, thrown together, but it's not. So the intention, let me make sure I ain't, it's trying to stick together. So the intention is to spread all of the ingredients across the dough, and you basically fold it like it's a giant pizza pocket. And then whatever kind of, if some of your ingredients fall out, you just kind of throw those on top, and it'll be fine. Trying to see, because I don't think it, for the pesto, spray brush, yep, roll out, layer the veggies. I'm trying to see where the pesto sauce goes. I don't think it ever put it on there, so we're just gonna wing that part here. All right. So I got all my ingredients here. I'm gonna spread them. So, and that's how easy this is. Like, most of this recipe is prep work. So cutting stuff up. And so I cut my peppers in like little rings because I think it's pretty. I think they're pretty as little rings instead of dicing them up like how I did the bell peppers. So as you can see, this is the purple bell pepper. So let me see if you can see that in the light. So it's purple. So yeah, you said it's purple. But it tastes exactly like a green bell pepper. And then depending on, I guess, how full the purple part is covering it, the part that kind of doesn't look all the way purple, you can tell it's still some green. So it's almost like it's purple layered on top of the green. Almost, not quite. But, yeah, so it's a nice little way to add in a variety of nutrients into your diet without necessarily having to get adjusted to any new flavors or tastes. So I think that's a nice little plus to that coming out like that. And of course I got my eggplant, so eggplant is purple as well. And then I got the green from my shishito peppers. I'm tempted to add. I'm gonna add some radish. We're gonna do that. We'll add some radish just because I like my radish. And radishes are a great way to naturally detoxify your body. It helps clean your kidneys and all of that. So why not add some radish? We can do, yeah, we'll do two nice sized radishes, and we're just gonna slice them on in there. I may even throw some of these artichokes in there. Then I got my fermented Goya artichokes. Artichokes are super nutritious as well. And while this is cooking, I'm gonna go over some stuff about our artichokes. Now, mind you, when you go to the restaurant and you get you some spinach artichoke dip, that is not the same thing. So don't be like, oh, so that mean I can. No, don't even play yourself like that. Because the first thing is, especially when you eat food that other people have prepared, you don't know how much of the thing is that you're trying to get is in there. So they probably put just enough artichoke in there to say it's artichoke dip, and then the dip is mostly like cheese and super fattening ingredients. So you don't want to overdo it with that stuff, especially from restaurants and stuff like that. So I'm going to use my cheese grater, the little slicer here, super convenient. um, I've had a four-sided cheese grater almost my entire life, and I've really ever only used this side of it, the big grating side. So once I started, really adding vegetables and prepping them and stuff myself, that's when I started really using the other parts of it. And so this little thing up here is a zester. I've never zested a thing in my life, but that's on there. And this slicer thing, you can use this for cheeses as well. And this I usually use the little small side for my ginger and turmeric when I'm making my ginger ale or my turmeric tea. So I love this thing. It's super handy, and the more versatile your diet gets, the more versatile your tools are going to need to be. So that's kind of where that comes into play. So that's why we're all about branching out here, okay? We're not leaving no nutrition on the table. I'm going to spread that like that, like that, like that. And I got my artichokes here. And we're just going to slap these suckers on. Now I'm not cutting nothing extra because, like I said, it's going to end up basically being like a monkey bread type situation because of the way I'm going to squeeze and fold this stuff into the pan and let it bake up. So let me set my oven. I know my mom's probably like, it's already hot in here, you about to turn the oven on. And then we're going to put our sauce on here and roll it up. And then whatever. So the reason why the picture on there looks like, I actually took the picture directly from the recipe that I found. The lady that wrote the recipe she's vegan herself. So, like I said, I've been trying to, cycle in some vegan recipes because I know not everybody is vegan or is trying to be vegan, but it helps to have, some of those recipes in your repertoire because I don't really like boxing myself in with, labels and stuff like that, like, oh, I'm vegan or I'm vegetarian or I only eat this, or you don't know what you eat until you eat it and what you don't eat until you don't eat it. So, people are like, oh, I don't eat artichokes, but if you've never had an artichoke, then you don't even know if you like it or not. So try it first and then say, oh, no, I don't. And when I say try it, I don't mean like try it once. Try it a couple of times because the first time you're gonna have to overcome your personal expectations of what things are supposed to taste like or be like and all of that stuff. So you got to work past that first. And then once you are actually in a space of, being open-minded about, what it is that you're eating and stuff, then you can truly say if it's good or not. But saying something is nasty just because it doesn't taste the way you expected it to taste, that doesn't count. So try it a couple of times. Try it in different recipes. Try it, in different ways before you just kind of write it off as like, nah. If it's something that makes you sick, then, leave it where it's at. Or if you find out you're allergic to stuff, yeah, of course. But if it's just a flavor issue or a texture issue, then, try different ways to make it palatable for you. And that's just basically how that goes. So I'm just spooning the pesto in here. Okay. And the pesto, because it's made with olive oil, I don't have to add any oils and stuff to just keep, you know, anything from burning or make it where, you know, the vegetables and things will actually cook, you know, a certain way because they're getting their oil from the pesto. And then also it's a nice little variation. So like I have Keisha sauce, I have a giant jar of sauce. But you know, like I said, variety, okay? Variety is the spice of life. Okay, that's where the nutrients get their full, you know, their full expression when you go for the variety. And so now we're gonna roll this up like this. I don't know if you can see that here. Got this. I'm gonna move some stuff around here. Maybe you can see if I do it like that. Okay. I'm move my skillet. See, I can see how that's designed. Right. And then we're just gonna roll it. Roll it. And it rolls into a big old blob, and we're gonna seal it as best we can. Okay, and then we get our little skillet, and we fit it in the skillet like that. So all of my stuff actually fit in here nicely. So that's cool. That worked out. All right, and we're gonna press that down, and I'm gonna sprinkle my cheese over it. This is Parmesan. I didn't put any cheese in there. I definitely didn't. So you know, I'm gonna put the cheese in the middle. Like I said, we can make it like it's like a little monkey bread. So I'm actually gonna part my dough right here. Oh yeah, that's about to work. Watch me work. And a lot of times that's how I end up like creating variation in my recipes. I'll be in forgot a step, or I'll skip something, or left out an ingredient. I'm like, ah, and then I just find a way to work it in there some other kind of way, and it usually turns out good, like a whole nother good idea. And then this, yep, mozzarella. Yep. I grew up on Sesame Street. I don't know how many of y'all did, but I grew up on Sesame Street, and the little aliens were hilarious. Yep. Okay, and this looks, see, this is a little bit of cheese. Girl, I'm not going to leave a little bit of cheese up in this bag. Yep. You can go ahead right on with your brethren. Boop. And that's that on that. And then I'm going to sprinkle me some basil and a little bit of oregano on top with a little bit of salt and pepper. Because, see, that's another thing that I love, like, about vegetables is because vegetables are the seasoning, you don't have to season them as much. So, like the salt and stuff like that, you can kind of leave that stuff where it's at. And so it really helps with your blood pressure. And plus, the nutrients that they have in them anyway tend to help lower blood pressure and stuff. So usually I actually have some fresh garlic chopped up, and I definitely could have edited it, but we're just gonna use our powdered garlic. It's just as good, and it definitely does still bring that flavor. And so that's why I love having like different seasons and stuff, because sometimes they're great in a pinch. You still get the flavor. You still get all of whatever little bit. This is my little dill weed. I like it because of how it looks. It has a, I don't know, a fancy little look to it. You'll see. So. My bad. That's my my telegram. So this is what it looks like with my little seasonings on there. It's got basil, some garlic powder, and dill on here. And then get me a little bit of my pink Himalayan salt, my salt crystals. I think I got this at Aldi too. No, I got this from, because Aldi has the white, the Mediterranean salt. But I got this at another grocery store. But I prefer the grinded, the grind, especially for like the salt and the pepper, because then you get larger salt chunks and it tastes saltier, but you don't have to use as much salt to get that amount of salt flavor. And then we gonna pop this in the oven and let this bread on here cook. Woo! Like, yeah, that's hot. And I actually have fresh Parmesan cheese to garnish it with. I'm not going to use the grated Parmesan cheese because I just feel like the fresh Parmesan cheese, it speaks to my inner bougie. It speaks to my inner bougie, so I'm going to use that there. And it is a slightly, I don't know, better flavor. I like the flavor of fresh Parmesan better because the grated Parmesan, it has a kind of dry taste to it. Because, I mean, technically it is like dried up cheese. So that's why I guess it lasts so long, even when you have it in the refrigerator and stuff like that. It lasts a pretty long time. So that's going to bake for 35 minutes or until golden brown because we don't want to burn our dough. We don't want to burn the bread. So now I get to chat with y'all for a little bit about these artichokes. So I did get a fresh, like, artichoke is green. I don't know if people know that. Artichoke is green, it's not white. The white part is the artichoke heart. So the artichoke heart is the part that's deep down near the stem. So you have the artichoke heart, and then you have like these like floret kind of leaves that make like this bulb that go all around. Here, I'll probably pull up a picture real quick to show y'all. But it's very pretty. And so fresh artichokes, the leaves on them are going to be closed. If you buy an artichoke and it's already starting to open up, it's old and you need to use it like that day. Otherwise, it's gonna not taste good and it's gonna be dry and yeah, that whole situation. So that's what artichoke looks like. Pretty, huh? It's real pretty. But those things are edible. But even when I looked up like how to cook that and all of that, it makes it. Oh, see, they even have a picture of the whole artichoke anatomy. Cool, huh? So cool. And the stem part is edible too, but you want to cut off the green part because the green part is kind of fibrous. It looks good, and I bet it's gonna be the bomb, man. Look, okay, I'm waiting on, and you see how I get the cheese all up through there, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm trying to slow up on my dairy anyway. But the artichoke hearts are what's mostly used. Grover was the best. I know. Yeah, I like Bert and Ernie too. Like they were hilarious to me. I was kind of confused about their dynamic a little bit, but they were funny because like Bert was always tired of Ernie. Like Ernie was just on his last nerve, but you could tell like if they were ever like separated, they would miss each other like for real. So and it's a lot of people like that, that I end up finding myself around where it's like they can get on your nerves, but when they there to get on your nerves, he's like, where's such and such to get on my nerves? So you got to be mindful of your dynamics with people, and nourish them the same way you nourish your body with food, and you'll appreciate them as they are, just like with with our food. And so the artichoke heart is the white part that you see in this that's what's used in the spinach artichoke dips and things like that, and it has the same nutrition as the whole rest of the plant. And so, that being said, artichokes have a ton of nutrition. This is nutrition that you can get from any part of the artichoke plant if you eat it, okay? So, it has vitamins B9, K, C, and all the B, really it has all the B vitamins except for vitamin B12. So, it has B1, B6, B5, B2, B3, B9, vitamin E, which is great for your skin. The B vitamins are essential to your immune system, and if you're a woman, to your hormone balance. Vitamin, I believe, is B12 and B6 are integral in balancing your estrogen and progesterone. So if you're trying to conceive, if you have fertility issues, those vitamins can really help balance those hormones and get you in a better position, especially if you're doing in vitro fertilization and things like that to kind of help promote fertility and stuff in your body, or offset that. Eating vegetables that are high in those B vitamins can definitely boost the efficacy, or how well those treatments can work. Then it has minerals, so it's got copper, magnesium, manganese, potassium, phosphorus, which is important for amino acid production, iron, which is important for blood production. So if you have, it's one artichoke is probably about, like, what does it say, 4% of your daily value. So if you're already iron deficient, it's not going to help you. You have to take an iron supplement if you are iron deficient, or in most cases that causes a form of anemia. So if you're anemic, you should be taking some type of iron supplement until your doctor says that you don't need to. So I've already had this conversation with one of our co-hosts. She had stopped taking it, and she was like, oh no, like, all the symptoms are back, like, because you got to keep taking it until your doctor says that your levels are, within normal range, and then you can stop taking the supplement. But you still want to definitely, especially if you've ever been anemic, you don't stop being anemic. It's just you learn how to focus your diet to include enough iron so that you don't become deficient again. Or depending on what caused the deficiency, if you solve that problem, that usually keeps from falling back into an anemic state where you have all of the real bad symptoms, like the lightheadedness, the chronic fatigue, and all of that. I might be low-key having an iron deficient moment as well, because I've been so tired lately. So I'm definitely going to have to get back on my grizzy with my supplements. And it's got zinc in it and calcium even. Yeah, so that's why vegetables are so important in getting a wide variety of them, because they tend to have a large amount of and a large variety of nutrients in it that your body needs, and especially your essential nutrients. And it also has water, so about 100 grams of water. I'm not sure. How many ounces is that? I'm gonna ask Siri. No, because it might cut y'all off. I'm gonna have to just Google it. Like, Papa will be like, hey, what's up? Convert. I used to know how to do this in my head, because we used to have, I used to have to do all these types of conversions all the time for my calculations for equations, scientific equations and stuff. So that's about 3 ounces, 3 fluid ounces of water in it. So in the whole, and this is the whole artichoke plant. So if you get a fresh artichoke and you use the whole plant, it has about 3 ounces of water, which is, that's a pretty significant amount. 3 grams of protein, 14 grams of carbs, and less in it, barely 1% of total fat, but it also has 6.8 grams of dietary fiber. So the thing with carbs, people, I don't know, people have like gone way off the deep end with demonizing carbs, like, oh no, carbs are great. Carbs are amazing. They are absolutely essential for your body functions and all that stuff. So don't do that to carbs. They didn't do nothing to you, okay? They are who they are, and you just got to be mindful of the sources of your carbs. So like the processed breads and the processed foods and stuff, those are the carbs you want to avoid. They call those refined carbs. Why? Because those get broken down immediately into sugar. It spikes your blood sugar, and they tend to have no fiber with them to slow the uptake of sugar into your well, in your bloodstream. So you end up with very high amounts of sugar in your blood very quickly, and then that's what kind of can cause insulin resistance and different things like that, which can lead to other problems like metabolic syndrome, diabetes, a lot of things that chronically overweight people tend to have to deal with, and that can be a large strain on your body, your organs, and your health. It smells so good in here. It smells like pizza. It smells like pizza, and there's not a lick of meat in that thing, and it smells delicious. So, and I didn't put any pizza sauce either. That's that pesto sauce. Let's see what it's looking like. Oh yeah, it's shaking up nice too. She got the towels in front of the thing. Let's see if y'all can see that. Not really. It just looks like you can't really see it, but it smells amazing. So just take my word for it for now, okay? Just take my word for it. It smells amazing. All right. So our carb situation it's not so dire. The more vegetables you add into your diet, the easier it's going to be to have a healthy source of carbs, a steady source of energy, because that's what carbs do. They provide energy. But the source of the carbs are more in the calories, because they give you calories. That's what energy is, calories. So the source of carbs and calories are more important than the amount. So even if you're, let's say if you're trying to lose weight, yes, you want to have a calorie deficit. But the calories that you are eating, you don't want them to be from refined carb sources. So you see what I'm saying? It's a hand-in-hand type situation. So yes, you could still be having a calorie deficit, but if all the calories you're eating are from Dunkin' Donuts and McDonald's, and then you're not gonna lose weight. Like, you might just end up feeling hungry. So, and working out creates a calorie deficit. So that's why they So that's why they tell you that working out is important, not just to lose weight though. Like, the thing with losing weight is your body is going to maintain or lose the weight based on its own equilibrium. So whatever you want is irrelevant to your body. Your body does not care. I'm going to tell you this now. So you might want to look like Beyonce or whoever, or it sounds good, but if the lifestyle that you're living does not support that type of body, you are not going to get that type of body. So that's why working out is important, because what it does is it helps your body shift its equilibrium. So as you work out and as you change your eating habits, your body is going to shift what it holds on to and what it releases. So if you're pretty sedentary and things like that, then you're going to lose muscle mass. And the less muscle you have, the fewer calories you burn, the less fat you burn. Your muscles, the fat source of energy, is actually more useful to your muscles than your organs in your body and stuff. But you end up losing what's called visceral fat, which is fat that builds up on your organs first. So if you have, like, let's say, an excess of 100 pounds of fat on your body, and 40 pounds of that is on your organs, and then the rest of it is under your skin, where people can see and all that stuff. And that's what you're really trying to change when you look in the mirror, because you can't look and say, oh, dang, there's a whole lot of fat on my liver. No, that's not what you're trying to change. You're trying to change that outside or the subcutaneous fat. And that is the fat that is the hardest to lose, because what happens is your body removes the visceral fat first, because your organs function better with less fat on them. Now, it's not going to be completely fatless. Like, your body requires a certain amount of fat in general just to be healthy. And then, like I said, your muscles prefer to burn fat for energy, because fat contains a ton of energy. So that's why working out helps you burn more fat, because your muscles are going to burn the fat for energy first, because it gives so much energy. Sugar doesn't have a whole lot of energy in it, and when it's stored in fat, that's kind of where that energy builds up. So your fat cells are what does that whole storing and releasing process. And then the fat cell itself is called an adipocyte. The fat cell itself does not go away. So that's why when really large people who lose a lot of weight, they have that loose skin and stuff situation. They also have a lot of fat cells. So when they go and get that skin removed, the fat cells that were created under the skin to store excess energy that they were constantly building up, those get removed as well. And that's why, after a certain point, especially when you're dropping in size, it actually is medically beneficial to get that excess skin removed, because now you don't have excess places to store this, energy and stuff, so you don't have to worry about the rebound of the fat coming back so quickly. And then also, because those are cells, they have signals that they signal to the rest of your body. So that's why overweight people tend to have higher levels of estrogen in the body. This is men included. So that's where the man boob situation comes into play, because their fat cells are producing estrogen in their body. So when people are like, oh yeah, well, so I did this and so I did that, like, the stuff you put in your body can only do so much to you based off of what you've already done to your body. So you have to, understand that you are the orchestrator of whatever is going on based on what you choose to put into your mouth. And the unfortunate thing about all of the foods that are bad for us, they're designed to be addictive. They are designed to make you want to eat more of it and buy more. So the fast food companies and stuff, they do not care about your health at all. The only reason why they changed, because they used to use lard to fry, like chicken and KFC and all, they used to use lard, pick that, to fry their food. And I'm telling you, it tasted delicious. I ain't gonna lie, it was the bomb. But you got all these people in their 30s and 40s, needing triple bypass surgeries and stuff like that. So the FDA actually had to regulate the type of oils and stuff that they use to fry the foods and things, and that's when they switched to shortening, which is a hydrogenated vegetable oil, which is, it's not better. It's really not. It's still just as unhealthy, but it doesn't spike those things and make it happen so quickly. But trust me, it is still bad for you, and then you will still end up needing a triple bypass surgery if that's what you eat all of your food in. If you fry everything in shortening and hydrogenated vegetable fats, you will absolutely still end up there. It's just a much longer road, all right? So they just leave that stuff where it's at. That's another reason why I showed y'all the scratch recipe, so that you can, if you get the time, make it yourself. You can make a whole bunch of dough ahead of time, put them in balls. Like if you make this dough recipe makes two. It makes two servings of dough. I guess 2 servings, but it makes 2. So you can cut it in half, wrap one in plastic, and freeze it. And then when you need it, thaw it out, let it sit out to rise, and then go and do what you need to do. And I would say that's much healthier than, going to a fast food restaurant, because they get all their stuff prepared, and it tends to have preservatives and things in it and all of that. So when you make it yourself, you don't have to use preservatives, because you can make it fresh and then freeze it, and it's preserving the freshness when you freeze it. So that's always my, I'm gonna forever scream that make it yourself. If you're worried about what's in it, make it yourself. Like even with the organic and the non-GMOs and all, like it's just so weird, because the people that like really promote that stuff, they still go to Chick-fil-A. You think Chick-fil-A using non-GMO and organic and all, they can tell you whatever, but you don't know. You don't know. Like you have to put your faith and your trust in complete strangers, in a strange corporation and their integrity, but when you make it yourself, you know what you're doing. You know what you buy. You're like, so, and I mean, and it don't get no better than growing it yourself too. So, because like I said, people can say, oh yeah, this is not GMO, this is organic, but they don't really know either. Because the way seed patterns and stuff, wind picks up seeds, and unless they're in an area where there's no farmers or crops around that's using GMOs and things like that, they can't say that all of their crops are non-GMO. They don't know, because the wind can blow seeds over there and boom. Now they got GMO genetics in their non-GMO whatever, plants and, things like that. And then now They just don't know. So I'm like, in order for them to be non-GMO certified, they have to be in an area where there's no other farmers around that's using GMO seeds. And with the way we're ruining the environment, that's going to be less and less of an option. So if you really want to support the non-GMO movement, like me personally, I don't care because I don't know, that's just me. And honestly, the more science you understand about it, the less scary it seems. And people are kind of hung up on the unknown, and well, we don't really know the effects of it. Like, okay, and y'all thought talc powder was safe too, and then here we are 50 years later, everybody got ovarian cancer and endometriosis and suing Johnson and Johnson. So it's a whole lot of stuff we don't know, and we're not gonna know until we know it. And so it's like I'm not gonna stress myself out over stuff I don't know. that's just my take on it. And what, I'm 32, in 50 years I'll be 80 something. If I do have cancer or something, I've lived my life. I've already lived my life, and I've already enjoyed what I was gonna enjoy. So I'm not pressed about it. But that being said, just do the research. Like, it's all this stuff is very readily available. Use credible sources. Don't go on someone's blog or somebody's YouTube channel and they're not citing sources like scientific research and studies, because you can go off of opinion all day long or what you think the world is like and all of that. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be wrong. You're going to be wrong, because there's going to absolutely already be somebody who has already experienced the contrary of what you're saying is true. So don't do it to yourself. Just say there's evidence that supports and there's no evidence, and that's all you can do to be as accurate as possible without trying to force your own beliefs and opinion as the undeniable general truth for everyone and everything, because it just doesn't work like that. Because I mean, genetics. That's all I have to say is why none of that stuff works for everything and everybody all the time, because of genetics. Like, we are genetically unique, and even within families, like they say your family history, and they can add to the possibility of you having that, but that's not going to be the absolute determining factor. And so that's why I want people to understand that just because you have a family history of something doesn't mean you're destined to have that thing. And even if you do end up getting that thing, it's not even necessarily your family history that even is the source or the cause of it. If you constantly eat McDonald's burgers, you're going to get the thing that McDonald's burgers causes. So that's just, and a lot of times family history is not even like based on a genetic predisposition. It's mostly because what one person in the family eats, the whole rest of the family eats, just because whoever cooking not going to cook 4 or 5 different meals because this person wants to eat that or this person needs to eat. Like, no, they're going to make one meal that everybody can enjoy, and you can pick out what you don't want to eat or whatever. But that's why families tend to carry similarities in diseases and what they call morbidity and things like that, is mostly because your lifestyles are linked and similar. So that's why when people are, oh, well, they'll come to me for a meal plan. They'll be, oh, well, my kid's not going to eat that. They're going to eat whatever you put in front of them, all right? And if they don't want to get with the program, tell them they can take their lunch money or their allowance, and they can go and buy whatever it is that they want to eat. But if you are on a diet, the whole family needs to be on that diet, not just out of solidarity and support, but because whatever is wrong with you, it came from your lifestyle. So even if your family isn't already, showing symptoms or signs of it, down the road they will. So it is your job as the person who finally got the light bulb to do better, to get your family on that track to do better, so that they don't have to have the same conditions and diseases that you are now trying to reverse and battle. This message is right on time. Thank you, LaShonda. But yeah, I mean, sometimes, especially if you're the one who buys the food and prepares the meals, you are the one that's in charge of your family's health. You are your whatever. Like back in the day, that used to be the shaman, the herbalist, the traveling wise man. Like, those were the people who were disseminating these herbal remedies and teas and things like that, and helping people were those. That's how that knowledge got passed around. And then you had the elders in the family who kept all this knowledge, and they passed it down. So when you were in the kitchen cooking with Big Mama was the one that was teaching you these remedies, teaching you the food to use, and you thinking it's just, oh, that's why it tastes good. Well, no, that's why you're healthy. That's why you never had a cold when you was a kid. That's why when everybody else had chicken pox, you weren't affected. You didn't have it. So, and I was that kid. I never had chicken pox. Like, all of my cousins ended up with chicken pox. I think my mom even ended up catching it and got shingles. I never got sick. And so, and it was just because I ate a lot. I ain't gonna lie, I ate a lot. I ate a ton of stuff, and I didn't turn down nothing but my collar, and it tended to have a lot of fruits and vegetables. Like, even when I was snacking, I would snack on. I loved oranges and bananas, and those things are really high in vitamin C, which is extremely supportive of your immune system. Vitamin D, extremely supportive of your immune system. Potassium, all this stuff that supports the immune system. And it's like, I didn't even realize that my body craved the things that it needed to protect me, because it already got the sense, it already got triggered by the sickness in the environment. And a lot of times, like, you do these things unconsciously, but your body is very conscious of what it's doing all the time. Every single cell knows what it's doing, and is going to do it whether you're on board or not. So why not be on board and really drive that process forward in the most positive way? And that's why I love doing this show, because I feel like I'm helping y'all build the roadmap to your quality of life, your improved quality of life. Like, the food that you eat is going to determine your quality of life. Like, yeah, you can choose to eat all terrible, and people absolutely live a long life on terrible food, and then when they're 70 and 60, they're disease-ridden, they're invalid in some way, they're feeble, they're fragile, and their quality of life is just not there. They're not as active with their grandkids as they could have been had they been eating better. And the best part about plants, they have restorative, regenerative properties. So just because you have a disease, or just because you're already in this, this kind of degenerative state where, your vitality is declining, doesn't mean that has to be your fate. If you start eating more fruits and vegetables, you can reverse. Doctors don't want to tell y'all that because they want to give y'all a promise, or they want y'all, realizing that you don't really need them, especially when you get, some type of disease diagnosis. Now they think, oh, yeah, we got them hooked now. Now they're going to have to stay on these medications their whole life to stay alive. No, eat your fruits and vegetables. Cut out the meats, especially the processed meats. Processed meats are full of all types of stuff you don't need, and the FDA has what do they say? Categorized them as carcinogens. Hot dogs, lunch meat, breakfast meats, the bacon, sausage, all that stuff. Carcinogens. Leave it where it's at. If you're going to eat meat, get to know your local butcher. Find you a butcher shop and get your meat there. The fresher, the better. Back in the day, I love calling it back in the day. It's really centuries ago. Like, before civilization, before, like, when we were hunter-gatherers, like, people love going, like, the paleo diet, and they were eating fresh meat. They killed it, they sat there, skinned it, cooked it, and ate it. It was fresh. The heart was had barely stopped beating. So the blood and everything running through the meat was still fresh, still practically oxygenated. So the meats that we're eating now are in a state of decay, and that's why eating less of it is better. And that's why people who have their own farms and things, they still eat meat, and they are very, very healthy. They are probably almost as healthy as vegans, because they are eating fresh meat that is basically still alive. Like, they don't kill the animal until they're, like, literally ready to cook it. And, they clean it, and they do everything themselves, and it's not preservatives, it's not frozen, it's not, all that stuff. And then they feed it and care for the animal like it's family. So the herders, people who, like, that's their life, to herd animals and raise cows, and they treat those, and even though they know that they're going to slaughter them, they still treat them like family. They still love on them. They still, take them out to pasture and all of that stuff, because all of that goes into the meat that you're eating. So when it's mistreated, when it's fed all kinds of crap, that's what you're eating. And I've even switched to grass-fed beef, and let me tell you, even that is a big difference. Even though, yes, it's still, basically decaying meat because it has to be, frozen and kept, and it's not, right at the source of, of the butcher process. But the fact that the cow ate better, was able to, be free in the pasture, and all, it makes all the difference in the meat. It really does. And just like how we have stress hormones, animals have stress hormones, and it affects the quality of the meat, and that affects the nutrients and nutrition that you get out of that meat when you eat it. And just being aware of that will have you making better decisions when you're at the grocery store. And it's like, yeah, that whatever meat over there might be, $2-3 a pound, and then you see the grass-fed beef, and it's $4.60 something, $5 something for that pound of grass-fed beef. I'm paying that $5-6 for that pound of beef, because for one, I don't eat a lot of it, which you're not really supposed to, because meat, that's the whole purpose of eating meat, is very nutrient dense, which means it's going to take longer for your body to process it. So you shouldn't be eating a ton of it. You don't have to eat meat at every single meal. You should be cycling in beans to get protein as well. And guess what beans have? Fiber. And guess what fiber does? It feeds your gut bacteria. It helps you digest the meat that's creating this putrid environment, like, why the gas is stinky, because that's what you're feeding it. You're feeding your bacteria stuff that makes the byproducts of what they digest stinky. So if you gassy and it stinks, change what you eat. When I started eating more fruits and vegetables, my gas, it didn't smell as bad. It wasn't as loud. Even the silent one didn't eventually fill the whole room with this, deafening smell that got people, oh, what is that? Who did that? And oh my good, like, because that's what's going on in your body. And now your gas is killing on you. Get you some beans. Cycle in at least one meal of beans. We love our black-eyed peas. Those are beans, and they're good for you, okay? Some white beans, lentils, red beans. I love me some kidney beans. And you know why they call them kidney beans? Not just because they're shaped like kidneys, but the nutrients in them are great for your kidneys, which is your natural detoxing system. So, y'all want to run for these detox pills and drinks and gummies and all of that instead of just doing what you're supposed to do in the first place, which is eat properly and take care of your detox organs. Let me check on you to make sure. Ooh! Oh, because what happened? Because what ain't what? Yeah. Yeah, because we did that. Yeah. Hold on, let me pull this out and check this. Because I think we're coming up on our 35-minute mark, and this looks perfect. This is perfection, y'all. And it smells as perfect as it looks. And then with this, you can have some pizza sauce or some marinara sauce, and cut you some and dip it. And that's that on that. That's that on that. Huh. Okay. Let me get something to cut this with. I had my pizza cutter from earlier when I had cut up my breakfast quesadilla. So let's see how this looking here. What we got going on with this. Oh my goodness, it's so soft. Oh my goodness, come it is. Like, I ain't even opened it yet. It's just, and y'all saw how I had to improvise with cheese on there, right? And even though I had to just add the cheese where I added it, it's still doing that. Oh, it's still doing that with it. Okay. And see, that's what I'm saying. That's the oil from the pesto, and that cooks the vegetables like perfect up in there. And you just see the mozzarella that I put on top of there. Okay. And that's the thing about cooking, for the most part, depending on what it is you're cooking. but most recipes are salvageable. And like I said, it may not be your original intention and all of that, but you can definitely um, create something new. And that's what food is about to me. Like, people love like the tradition and stuff like that, and I'm like, that's cool and all, but I feel like the key about tradition is the ingredients, because traditions are supposed to be, like I said, a way to pass down information to your descendants through your legacy, and that's what you should be passing on is good nutrition, not table scraps and trash, because that's what all the pig feet and the pig ears and the snout and all that was trash from the plantation that the masters didn't want to eat and that they gave to the slaves so that they wouldn't starve. And then we, being the amazing creative beings that we are, we made it taste edible. But our people, they were on mostly vegetable based diets. Okay, plant based diets. Okra, collard greens, tomatoes, radishes. Those were the type of things they mostly ate. Beans, peas, seeds, fruit. So the meat thing wasn't really that big, and it wasn't until we were kidnapped and brought here that we had to make it work. But once we got off the plantation, those foods should have stayed where they were, because that's exactly what's killing our people. The overindulgence of things that weren't meant to be a source of nutrition, and then it got wrapped up in culture and tradition and all of that, because instead of just seeing it as an opportunity to branch off and create our own culture, our own legacy. Like, yeah, we may not be share the same source and culture from the African homeland where we might have been taken, or a lot of us were already here. They don't want to tell you that either. The census kind of messed that up, so they really lumped in a lot of the indigenous people with the slaves who were brought over from Africa just because they were brown. But a lot of people are descended from people who were already in America. So if you won't know that if you don't know your genetic makeup, which is fine. But you definitely have to be mindful of what is that tradition, why is it a tradition, and what is it that you're actually teaching your family with that tradition. And so you want your traditions to be those of life-giving, actions and beliefs and things like that, not of, I love how Mary puts it, as a deaf culture. And so that's what that is. Like, that's passing down deaf culture when you say, oh, this is soul food. No, it's not. It's not feeding, not even your soul, because it's from a place of hurt and pain and degradation and all of that. So leave it where it's at. I'm telling you now. And if you do like pork, because I like pork, if you do like pork, there are other sources. You don't have to eat the bacon and all of that. They have grass-fed pork that is low in sodium, fed actual vegetables, and they watch the animals, and they actually take care of the animal. And pigs are actually pretty smart. So just how they care for the animals changes how it affects your body. So you have to be mindful of what you're putting in your body, and be understanding of when you eat this, your body is going to react a certain way. Pay attention to it, because everything ain't for everybody, and everybody don't need to be vegan and all that stuff. And you don't even have to classify yourself. Like I said, I don't classify myself as a thing, because then I can miss out on some stuff that my body might need at that moment. Like, just being a woman, your body is going to cycle with your menstrual cycle. So you have to be mindful of the things that your body is requiring just from your hormone changes. Otherwise, you could end up being that crazy, dragon lady and stuff, like, oh, I think she needs a Snickers. Like, no, you just need to be mindful of the things that your body is craving at certain times and give it that. If you have heavier periods, you're going to bleed more, and so you're losing a lot more blood. And so you have to get more iron into your diet. And so if you don't normally eat meat, you might need a little piece of steak or some liver or something, because your body needs that for the iron. Or, you can take an iron supplement, but then you have to be mindful of what else you're eating with it, because there are things that can block the absorption of iron. Like if you're a tea drinker, the tea. If you're drinking coffee, the coffee. So caffeine can absolutely, change how your body is absorbing it. Vitamin C, I believe, helps you absorb it better if you're getting it from a supplement or a plant source. Calcium actually blocks the absorption of iron. So if you're taking a calcium supplement or you're drinking milk or something with it, like, no, you're messing yourself up. So, no matter. That being said, this is it, all the way cut up. You see, I got all my little artichokes sticking out. I got my radish, all that, the cheese. Everything looks so delicious. This is the end of the bread part, so this is a lot of bread right here. But this little piece right here, oh my goodness, it's breaking up. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is about to be like some monkey bread, and we're just gonna break it up and eat it. And it tastes so delicious. Like, I'm so glad I put some little seasonings on top. Put the little razzle dazzle on top. Bam. So that is lunch. I already had my breakfast, my little vegetarian quesadilla, because I had some cheese on it, so it's not vegan. But my vegetarian quesadilla was delicious, and I had a cotton candy grapes. Those were delicious, and I'm probably about to make me a fruit smoothie to drink with this. And you know what? So I'm gonna let y'all in on one of my little secrets. So I know y'all know the palm people. I love them. The juice is delicious. Delicious. Don't get me wrong. So I'm not trying to replace them or whatever they do, because pomegranate juice is necessary for a number of reasons, and we'll probably get into that on one of the other shows. But the bottle. So this is tea that I made. So I have like these people, the cold water infusion teas, because I don't have to boil it. So I just took the tea bag and I stuck it in the bottle with some water, and then I add like whatever other stuff I want in there. Like if I want some mint, I throw a mint leaf in it. I have my collagen supplements and stuff. I'll pour, a packet of that in there, and then I just have these ready, and I'll freeze them in the morning. I'll make them in the morning, and I'll put them in the freezer, and then I just take them out throughout the day. So these are 12-ounce bottles. I have 4 or 5 of them. So I know I'm getting at least 48 to 50 to 60 ounces of water a day just from drinking these, and it's flavored. It already tastes good, and I don't have to, because I don't have something good or sweet to grab, I'm not looking for a pop or looking for something else. And I have my homemade ginger ale, so sometimes I'll make like half of this, and I'll just fill the rest of it up with ginger ale, and then boom, I got my carbonation. Plus, I get the benefits of the ginger, which is anti-inflammatory, among other things. And ginger is actually also an adaptogen. I talked about that in the last show. So it helps with your different nervous system issues. So I love doing this. It's the perfect size, and I can throw it on a bag to go and all that. And I didn't have to buy a whole separate, a special type of bottle with a filter and a lid. It's not that serious. I already have filtered water in my sink. So, something that's cost efficient. And then I have my big kombucha bottle. It's glass, so I can make my ginger ale in the big bottle. I didn't have to go and buy a whole separate mason jar, because those sometimes they can charge like upwards of like $10 or $20 for it. I paid like $11 for that, and I got kombucha, which is great for your microbiome. It adds extra bacteria to your digestive system to help get you nice and regular, and help you get the most nutrients out of your food. So that's the last freebie y'all. And y'all done got an extra recipe out of me earlier and stuff. Look. But thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, Lasana. I love the support. Thank you. And when you make yours, tell me what you put in it, how it tasted, what all you did, and then look up the nutritional information about the ingredients that you put in, because that's how I learned all the stuff I learned about food. I'm like, oh, but this tastes good. Well, why does it taste good? Oh, because I guess my body needed this zinc that was up there. That's just the nerd in me. But you can definitely do that, and it'll change. I'm telling you, it'll change your relationship with food so much because when you go to a fast food restaurant, you're gonna be thinking about all the nutrition it doesn't have, and you're gonna. I'm telling you, you're gonna stop. You're gonna stop. You're gonna cut out the shenanigans. So love and extended quality of life for all my people, and rock truth or nothing at all.